Welcome to another video right here on FE Builds. We're doing one more mod to the Land Commander, aka the Landcruiser 79 by RGT. And this one's not for everyone, but it's for me. Personally, I don't like taking the cover off or the body off all the time because I've owned the Rescuer. And one thing I noticed when it's got these things on the side, the body starts to crack at some point through the taking it off and putting it back on the whole time. Because these sort of squeeze side to side and you have to squeeze the body to get in. As you can see, the car already has a crease. It came with that from the factory. In the box, it came with that already like that. So what I'm going to do is something that not everyone will want to do. Sorry if you can hear some noise in the background. I've got my dog eating and she's enjoying her food so much that she's decided she's going to eat no matter what. So we're going to take this body off and we're going to drill a hole neatly going into this back cap, because the access over here is so easy. You literally just lift this up and you've got access over here. So I want to drill a hole in here and I want to put a Velcro down in there, and I'll be putting my batteries in here at the back, sort of closest to the cab as possible. So we're essentially moving the battery from where it sits, from where it's designed to sit over here to over here. And that's fine because it's a trail rig. I think a bit more weight on the back will add to the realism of the springs compressing and all that stuff. One thing we might do, because I noticed the front is so soft, we might actually put lizards just at the front. So let's see how that goes, and if they're the same size, same height, then we'll put lizards just so that we get this car to sit stable. I tried to set the preload on the shocks, but for some reason it wants to hang one side and I want it to sit stable. So I think the lizards are going to help. They've got very soft springs in them, but that's still stronger than what's over here. So hopefully that's going to help. And we'll leave the rear springs the same because I don't have lizards that size. So these are two mods that I'm going to do now, and you'll see them being implemented. Furthermore, pulling the body off the whole time is not so great for the body itself, because you're not going to get a smooth surface on every terrain, especially if you're outdoors. You're going to have to put this nice shiny surface on that side down on the ground or somewhere, or lay down some cloth or something on the ground so it doesn't get scratched. And if you pull too hard on these wires, it's going to disconnect from that receiver and your lights will go off, and then you have to open again and improve that. So I've got a solution to this problem, and that is this over here. I know someone who's been into RCs for a very, very long time. He actually made this up for me with the correct wires so that it can handle the amount of power going through. It's thick enough for 4S, and I think it'll be able to handle it. I think we'll just cable tie the slack, but the way I want to design it is so that you can easily just open at the back here, take out the battery, pull it out here, and then do the disconnect, not do the disconnect in there. So that's why we made this so long. And once I get this nicely seated and straight, we're gonna cable tie it down so that it sits perfectly. So once that's done, I'll be back with the final result and let's see how it goes. Okay, so just an update. The first section of this went quite well. I just need to cable tie that wire. This fan's working and basically it sucks air upwards. You would wonder it's not blowing on the motor, but it sucks air upwards and pushes it over and through this section over here. Keeps that servo straight down there cool, and also circulates the air so it actually goes on this motor. But then this is the mod that I was actually working on doing, and I was very careful to make sure that it's not disturbing any gears. As you can see, the servos are on this side So running the wires on this side is not the best idea. So what I did was run the wires around the servos on that side, and I tried to make it as neat as possible, but I did have some hiccups here and there, and I had to drill that small hole for a mod that I'm going to do in the future. But this cab is going to be closed all the time. I'm not going to open it after this. I think the only thing I'm going to do now quickly is just put the cable ties on and put a small antenna over this, and we're going to close this permanently until it breaks, so we need to change something. But basically we're done for now, and what I did was cut a piece off this ridge over here so that the wire goes under the body and I don't have to cut it at all, because I didn't want to drill the actual body. You know, with polycarbonate, it's so easy to crack it, and once you crack it, the crack just keeps growing. So we're gonna just tuck these down nicely so that when it sits flush, and then we'll close it back up and I'll be back with an update. And that right there is the last section, and we are closing this cab for good. So we're gonna make sure all the wires are plugged in nicely, and we'll only open it when we need to fix something. Okay, and just like that, the cab is closed, and I'm gonna keep it closed as long as I need to. The one thing I need to fix over here is, you can see that it slants to the one side. Sorry, my desk is really messy, but it keeps falling to the one side, and I don't like that. I want to keep it nice and straight when it's driving. In terms of the battery placement at the back over here, what I will do is stick a piece of Velcro in the center, and then we're going to use these small batteries. So we're not going to use very heavy batteries to power this car, because you don't want to put too much weight at the back. So yeah, hopefully all goes well and goes to plan. We're just going to do a quick test to see if it switches on, and let's see how that goes. Okay, so as you can see, the indicators are flashing, showing that it's not connected. And the fan is on. You see a bit of what I see. There's the fan. It's pulling air upwards, so it's keeping this motor from being overheated. Okay, so just to wrap this up, I'm quite impressed with RGT. They never cheaped out on the hexes. Nice metal hexes with a grub screw, so you can actually tighten those wheels nicely. I've replaced the two front shocks with lizards. Yes, I know this is not a crawler, but the reason why I did that is these shocks have been balanced out to a 50-50, and I was finding that this car wasn't standing level. One shock on that side, I believe, was pushing out a lot, pushing out like that. So one side was standing higher than the other. With this, it's going to allow it to compress and also extend, and I think that's a good thing. My hope is just that it's not slanting for it. I swapped the lizards out from the black ones to the red ones because I have different lizards that I keep on standby. These ones have a bit stronger of a compression spring, and they also have a lighter rebound, so it allows it to actually replicate the original shocks, but it's just a bit slightly more tension in terms of the compression spring. Okay, so just an update, we've changed back to the black desert lizards. These are 50-50 split, and the springs are not too hard, the spring rate, although the flow of the oil is actually restricted a bit better than these original shocks that come with it. So it allows body roll, but it controls it very well. We did a test which will come up straight after this video, and we found that the body roll with the body, I've actually trimmed it down slightly the bigger tires, and also because these ones that come with it were rubbing, but I still have to grind that down, so don't mind that. I have to neaten it up. But anyways, we found that the red ones were just too hard, and I think there's a fine balance. It shouldn't be too hard. It also shouldn't be too loose in terms of the body roll. And I found that if it's too hard, the car rolls over easier. At the back with the springs, there's things we can do to those shocks, but that's quite a long story. I'm most probably going to do that down the line, just to control, sort of act like a internal sway bar. But for now, this is the quickest solution. And these black lizards are actually set up for trail. So they've got a 50-50 rate on compression and rebound, both soft springs. But the oil is quite thick in there, and it flows slowly. So it allows the body to roll nicely when it needs to, but not too extreme where it actually falls over. And it doesn't hold the body too much. I'm trying to explain this without getting into the whole details of the physics and everything, but I also moved from that one hole where the shocks originally come in, and I went to the next hole over there. Now we're going to do some tests and see how this goes. And the tests for both shocks will be uploaded shortly after this. Okay, so in conclusion, if you want performance on the trail where it doesn't roll over easily, go with the Lizards, soft springs on both sides. I went to the 50-50 sort of split. You can go with like a 70-30. There's different size springs that you can put on both sides for compression and rebound. I would suggest, if you're going with the Fusions, if you want to get that realistic compression look when you're driving, go with a very soft oil or a lighter oil so that it can replicate the real shocks. If you want it to be extremely scale, then the real shocks would be really good. Although on mine I noticed it actually came with just the springs. The shocks were not loaded with any oil whatsoever. So that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope this was informative. And this is modding the RGT EX86160 Land Commander, taking it from the Land Commander and making it a Landcruiser TRD Pro.